Boy, you at it peeping this shit. Go ahead to youtube.com/waterway TV and subscribe to that shit. Yeah, you know the waves in it. Baseball, we're hitting a home run, hit it with the coldest rains. And even on my bad days, I'm a clutch to finish. The track diminished, the booth burnt, hands is itching. Damn.
So I think the first school that came to practice was Arizona State. And yeah, they after practice they told me that they've seen like game film or something, and yeah, they were like, okay, like that could be something, but they weren't like really crazy impressed or anything.
Yeah.
And then once they saw me practice like in person, then they were like, wow, like and offered me.
Okay.
So
Wow.
that was my first offer, and then from there just kind of like snowballed.
Yeah.
And schools came to visit me, and then other schools who I don't think never seen me play and just started texting me and stuff like that, right? And so yeah, and that was my first year back playing after a year I got blocked, and I was just like, at the time before that happened, I thought, like I have no idea how I'm supposed to get into college,
Yeah.
like I had no offers, I had no resources, I had no way of being seen.
Was that the intent for you? Like, was the goal to go to the U.S. and go to college, or how did that like process go through your head? Like, was keep playing pro ball in Germany, or go get an education over in the U.S. and play college basketball? Like, where was your mind at that point?
So yeah, I always thought, I'm pretty sure I Googled it at the time. Like,
Yeah,
I Googled how do people get drafted or
Yeah.
something, and the most common way was the college route, So then the moment I seen that, I knew that I wanted to go to college. I remember when I was still at Tübingen, my old team, like 16, I was telling everyone that I'll be playing for Duke one day.
Yeah.
Everyone looked at me crazy. But yeah, like I just knew early that that's something that I wanted to do. So yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously you go through the process of teams recruiting you and that kind of thing. Like, you came to the U.S. and took visits and all that stuff, right? Like, what made you go through that process and then eventually ended up at the University of Minnesota? Like, kind of take us through your thought process on that.
Yeah. So the first thing I did was kind of come up with like a final six, and then from there it was kind of more so just figuring out a time span where I could go to the U.S. and actually visit the schools, cause it's like like a 9-hour flight, and since I got recruited so late, like I had to take all my visits in the spring of my senior year essentially, and around that time I had my finals coming up in school, which school in Germany, man, it's hard. Yeah.
Hard.
So I had my finals coming up, and then at the time we also had our playoffs with the team, So it was kind of hard finding enough time to go on those visits, So I decided to go on like I don't know, like a 3-school bender kind of thing,
Yeah, hit one, then hit the next,
exactly.
and then after,
Like a little trip.
Yep.
And the plan initially was to go to Tennessee, TCU, and Minnesota. Those were the 3 schools I ended up deciding actually wanting to visit. And then there was only this certain week that I was able to go, and that was a week where like Rick Barnes like had something going on and he couldn't like do it these days, right?
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, that's fine. And I'll just visit those other 2 schools, because I didn't have any other option,
Yeah.
So I went to TCU and Minnesota, and yeah, TCU, Fort Worth, really beautiful city, man.
Yeah.
Like, everything is so clean, and I was like, wow, like I was kind of wowed by just how like good everything looked, And then I come to Minnesota, and at the time, there's a lot of construction going on because it's in spring, like right after the winter. There's a lot of construction here.
Always is, man. Always.
So and then I'm pretty sure when I arrived here, it was raining as well.
Yeah.
So
it started off on a bad note.
Yeah.
On a bad note.
But yeah, like it just I just had a feeling about Minnesota that would be a good spot for me at the time.
Yeah, and I think like that feeling, it's kind of like an undescribable thing that a lot of athletes talk about, and like it just felt like the place to go, and like for me, like Minnesota is my home, so like I knew I was gonna come here. But for you, it's different. You're traveling across the across countries to get here, and you ultimately you pick Minnesota, and then obviously you go home and get ready to come to school. Take us through that kind of process. Like you're arriving here in Minnesota to stay. Like you're moving to Minnesota to play college basketball. Like you're like you mentioned, you have high goals. You want to be drafted in the NBA. You told your friends when you're young you're going to go to Duke and be a pro and all that kind of stuff. Like, where is your mind at? Like coming into Minnesota, is it like, because one and done culture is a thing at this point. Like people are coming to do a year and then get drafted in the first round. Like, where is that kind of the thing you were thinking, or like what was your mind at in terms of like coming to Minnesota and your future in the pros and the NBA?
So normally when you come in as a freshman, like you come here in the summer, right? Go through the summer program and stuff like that. But since I'm an international student, like you can only start attending school in the fall. So in the summer I played in the European Championship with my national team, and there was this one guy, you know him, Sam Griesel.
Yeah, my guy. Shout out Sammy G if you're listening to the podcast.
Yeah, that's my guy. He was my roommate. He played for NDSU. Now he plays for Nebraska. And at the time he already played his freshman year of college, and we talked, and I told him I was going to attend the University of Minnesota, and I had high ambitions, man. Like I came here thinking, all right, I remember this clearly. I told him, like my goal is to be a one and done. If not, then I'll stay a second year, and then I'll go to the NBA. Like I was, like high ambitions, I wanted to come in here, try to be freshman of the year, like I had like really high ambitions coming in. And then I end up coming here. I was able to come here a little bit earlier than the fall because the team was traveling to Italy. Because every 4 years, colleges take or basketball teams take international trips. Yep. So I was here practicing for 2 weeks. Practice went fine. It was okay, we didn't do too much. I just got introduced to the place and stuff like that, and then we traveled. And Italy was fun, man. Yeah, it was a good time. It was great to bond with the team, And when I actually ended up moving here completely, and we actually started with fall practice, like real preseason. I kind of like hit a wall, because I was supposed to be playing, I don't know, like on the perimeter, and like coming from Germany, like the game, like basketball was a little different, and I've never faced like guards, like how you have here in the U.S. Extremely athletic, fast, and as a freshman, I wasn't physically ready either, so I came here and was kind of struggling on defense, So like defense was like the biggest thing I struggled with coming in. Yeah,
so initially, you come in and your mind is kind of like, oh wait, maybe this is a little tougher, or maybe this is coach wants it one way and I want it another way. How did that kind of dynamic go through your first couple of years? Because like obviously you can look up the numbers. You didn't have the numbers that you wish you'd have coming in right away. You didn't have numbers that propel you to an NBA draft pick. How does your mindset, go through that and like, take you through that, keep you in the game, keep you excited to come back and play? Yeah.
So, at first I was, freshman. In my mind, I was thinking that it's coach's fault. Like why is he playing me in positions that I'm not used to? Like this is not how I was promised. It's not how it was supposed to go. And I pushed the fault away from me. It's coach's fault. But when in the middle of my freshman year, like middle of the season, I kind of had like a shift of mindset. Started thinking more about, okay, well, this is the situation I'm in right now. What can I do to make the best out of it, you know? And I feel like that helped me like a lot.
Yeah.
And I actually ended up playing like quite a lot at the end of my freshman year. So yeah, that was probably the shift of mentality that I kind of needed. And but yeah, you know, it was tough, man. Like I come here, I don't have family around me. I don't really have a support system.
You don't know how the game goes either here in America.
it was just so different for me. And even though I thought I had an easy time adjusting, like I really didn't, and it kind of showed while on my play.
Yeah.
You know.
No, that totally makes sense. You know, you have one mindset of how things are going to be when you come in, and it changes. And you know, you go about that, and you play 3 years under Patino or 2.
So I played my freshman year.
Yep.
And it got shortened because of COVID, quarantine and stuff like that. And then we had the COVID year, right, where we had no fans and stuff like that. And that was the last year I played under Patino before.
And then Coach Ben Johnson comes in. Whole new staff comes in. Every single guy except for you and Eric, leave. So you and Eric are the only 2 guys to stay. Where's your mind at now? You know, you get a flip. You get a flip of a switch. You know, maybe a fresh restart. Maybe something new. Like, is your mind kind of telling yourself like this is a fresh start, or what is your mind telling you?
Yeah, man. I was down. You know, my sophomore year I was down. You know, I kind of thought to myself like I was in a rut. I didn't know how to get out of it. I didn't know what to do in the situation anymore, and I was kind of set on transferring, after the season, and then Coach Ben got hired, right? And I hear like Eric knows him, like Jarvis Johnson knows him, and I kind of ask around, like on opinions on him, what they think, and I only heard great things, you know, but I didn't know him. I had no relationship with him. He didn't recruit me. I didn't know any of the coaching stuff.
Which is tough because you can think like this new guy's coming. He doesn't owe me nothing. He doesn't owe me anything. He could sit me on the end of the bench if he wants to.
Yeah.
So that's a hard mindset to think about.
Yeah. So I was still kind of thinking like it might be better for me if I leave because most of the time when a new coach comes in he kind of has like his own plan or his own idea But Coach Johnson and the staff made sure that I knew that they wanted me here. It was kind of funny because in the spring, I was the only one here pretty much. It was Booth was here as well and Gabe ended up transferring, like entering the portal and then going to Iowa State. Yeah. So it's really just me just working out with the coaches, like the whole coaching staff, just doing individuals and I'm pretty sure that they saw a lot of things that they didn't know I had in me, and they saw the potential that I kind of have,
Yeah.
And it was just so different, like it was all about confidence, like just like be you,
And you were attracted to that, obviously.
That's what I needed to hear. Yeah. Like I was so much. I felt so bucks in, and it was like kind of like staff was kind of like reaching for me, just pulling me out that rut, and they believed in me and what I can do, and
so that made you want to stay, obviously. You know? And then you eventually end up deciding to stay, and 13 new guys come into the program, including myself. I came in. The first day we met was my 6th week mark on my left ACL. So you meet me. We're roommates. I move into the room. Like you and me become friends pretty quick. And you see me hobbling around with a brace and that kind of stuff. Like not necessarily like you having an opinion on it, but like you see the injury, you see something clearly that's in front of you. You obviously don't think like, hey, this is never gonna happen to me, like that kind of thing. But like so we start summer workouts and all that kind of stuff. And where's your mind at now? Like new team, new energy, new group of people. Like you excited, you nervous, worried? Like what's going on?
I was definitely excited, man. Because Ben made sure to recruit the right guys. It was all good people. Yeah. Like it was just great vibes.